dressed in white, headed straight towards us. Straight towards us. Walks up to the front and she sits down in front of everyone. And then she takes off her shirt. I know, sounds weird. Welcome to another Boogie ASMR. Today I will be telling you guys a personal IRL ASMR story. First of all, sorry for my kind of messy room. I am kitty sitting. Where is he? He's sleeping right there if you can see him. Okay, sorry. The kitty that I'm cat sitting started meowing a lot because he wants to be pet. He's so cute. So I'm just gonna have him sit here while I tell you guys my story. Alright, there's been a dog outside barking for like 2 hours, and I just want to film, so I will film. Hopefully you guys can't hear it too much. Oh, look at this kitty. Holy, he's so cute. Okay, sorry. So today I wanted to tell you guys my IRL ASMR story. Basically, a few weeks ago, I saw that there's this in-person ASMR event coming to my city. So I decided to sign up, since obviously you guys know I love ASMR. So I figured it might be interesting to do something like that. Well, it was very interesting. So I signed up via email, and I got instructions a few nights before the event, which was basically telling me where to meet, what time, and the instructions said that I had to be there right on time or else I would forfeit my ticket. And it says if I'm even a bit late, they just leave without me, and that I was meeting on the corner of a street. I was meeting a bunch of strangers, and then we would be picked up to go elsewhere. Sorry, I wanted to give you guys a little more cat cam. So a couple nights before the event, I got an email telling me instructions on how everything would work. So the email basically said that I would meet with a group of other people on the corner of the street, and we would all be picked up together and brought elsewhere. So when I read that, I was like, this is kind of sketchy. Why would they tell us to meet on the corner of a street so that we would be picked up and brought elsewhere? Why not just tell us to meet at the actual place? So I decided not to think much of it and to go anyways, even though I'd be going alone and meeting a bunch of people that I don't know. So the day of the event comes. I go to the corner street. I'm the first one there, so obviously, first of all, my Uber drops me off in the middle of nowhere and just watches me sit on a corner street alone. And obviously he's mean, it's only his job to pick me up and drop me off, so he just leaves. So, I sit there for a bit, and this other guy shows up. And I know that he's here for the thing, and I'm sure he knows that I'm here for the thing, but neither of us say anything to each other. And we just wait for everyone else to show up. It ends up being a group of like 6 people, 5 being girls and 1 being guys, which I was really surprised of. I thought it would be mostly guys and like a couple girls. Anyways, we're waiting there, and this cute little Asian girl runs up to us and she gives us these waivers, just stuff to sign off on, basically saying like, if anything happens, it's not their fault. I'm like, okay. And then she tells us, like, she says, in the meantime, try to just listen to outside sounds and, you know, enjoy the nature, the kids running around, the birds chirping, because this will be the last time that you hear any outside sounds for a while. And I was like, I can't tell if she's trying to help us relax, or if she's saying she's gonna like kidnap us and that's why we won't hear outside sounds for a while. Either way, I was like, alright, I was chilling. So we're hanging out, and a few minutes later, she comes up to us again and she goes, alright everybody, the event is gonna start soon. So we all get close together. So, where was I? Oh yeah, so she looks to her side as she says the event is about to start. So I look that way too, and all I see is like 8 people, all dressed in white, headed straight towards us. Straight towards us. Which kind of freaked me out at first. And it's kind of like, well, it looked kind of culty, I won't lie. And I was already kind of scared at this point because, I mean, I'm with a bunch of random people in a random place, apparently getting picked up by other random people. And usually I'm someone who's like not very adventurous. I wouldn't be doing something that could potentially be unsafe. But that day, you know, I wanted to let loose, do something spicy or new, you know, really experience something, go on a bit of an adventure, and I mean, I sure did do that. Anyways, they come walking towards us, this group of people all dressed in white, and it's like each of them picked one of us, and the girl that picked me was pretty cute. She was maybe like late 20s, early 30s, long brown hair, beautiful white gown. And so she comes up to me and she goes, may I blindfold you? And I was like, what? Blindfold me? What do you mean? But everyone else was going along with it. So I was like, okay. So she puts a blindfold on me, takes my hand, and leads me down the street into a random house. Obviously, I'm not sure which one because I can't see where I'm going. Which also is kind of scary when you think about it. Honestly, that's how everything in this story is. It's kind of scary, but also maybe kind of cool. It's hard to tell in the moment. But yeah, random lady blindfolds me, takes me to a random house, and then we get in there. She takes my stuff and and says that she'll keep it somewhere safe until the event is done. And I was like, oh, okay. Still blindfolded. Waiting. So I'm still blindfolded inside the house. She leads me to lay down on a mat. By the way, I haven't told this story in a while, so if I forget anything, I'm sorry. Anyways, I lay down on a mat and I can't see anything, and she starts making cool noises around my ears, tapping on stuff like the grounds, and she'll say like woods creaking, whispers, and like whisper around me. It was pretty cool, pretty ASMR-y. And then, so she gets up and a kind of sound show commences. So there's all these cool sounds that go from like one side of the room to the other side. It's really, really cool. And then the weird thing, I mean, the sound show was pretty cool, but the weird thing about it was that at the end of it, they all started chanting, "It is now. It is now." I have no idea why. I never found out why. They just chanted that, and I was like, okay. But aside from that, all the sounds were super cool. And then, by the way, the group of people that are wearing all white and doing the ASMR stuff on us, I'm gonna refer to them as White Walkers just for convenience sake. So one of the White Walkers, I think it was the girl that was with me, she says, "Everybody sit up." So we sit up on our mats, and she says, "Face me." We try to turn and face her, wherever we hear her voice coming from. She goes, "You may now take off your blindfolds." So we do that, and we see her at the front of the room, and then a White Walker from the back of the room with the long, beautiful blonde hair walks up to the front, and she sits down in front of everyone, and then she takes off her shirt. I know, it sounds weird, but really, what she does is like she takes off the sleeves, and we can't see her front because her back is towards us. And then there's two girls on the sides of her, and they start brushing her shoulders and like putting their hands on her back, and stuff that is supposed to be, I guess, aesthetically pleasing or like look relaxing. But I mean, that's not the kind of ASMR that I personally watch. So they do that. She puts her shirt back on, and every White Walker grabs like their initial person. So we all go to different rooms, and the weird thing is that everybody else, we were in a house, by the way, I think I mentioned that, everybody else went upstairs, but my lady took me to a room on the side of the stairs. So I'm like watching everyone go upstairs, but we're not, and I'm like, what's going on with the rest of the people are over there? But I come to find out that it's just because like the room that she was using was downstairs and everyone else has happened to be upstairs. Anyways, so we walk into the room, and it's a really, really, really pretty, relaxing room. It smells nice, she was saying all this freaky stuff. Like, she took my arm and she put a bit of the oil on my wrist. And as she was rubbing the oil in, she goes, "This oil will increase the capacity of your mind. It'll make you notice details you've never noticed before. It'll be like you're looking at the world with a new pair of eyes." Some really freaky stuff. Basically, like, if you were to look up a description of what LSD does, like, that's everything she explained, basically. So I was like, I can't tell if this is just like regular oil and you're hyping it up, or if this is actually some freaky drug oil. Either way, I kept going with it. What a cutie. Alright, so, oh yeah, afterwards she takes out this pendant with like a quartz crystal or something, and she's like, "I like to just look at this pendant and focus on it and imagine what I truly want in life." And she starts swinging it in front of me like this. So I'm looking into it, and I'm just picturing like a bucket of KFC chicken. Anyways, and then she starts swinging it the other way like this in front of me, and I'm like, "Are you hypnotizing me?" So, I mean, overall it was still nice and relaxing. There was a lot of small talk, her telling me like stories from her childhood and stuff like that. And then, so she was telling me a lot of stories from her childhood and stuff. And then I started hearing this weird sound, just like random weird music. And she goes, "Oh, it's time for you to go to the next station." And I was like, "Okay." She's like, "Go upstairs and follow the green light." So I do exactly that, and I finally understand that like every room in the house is a different station, and there's like different ASM artists in every station, I guess. So I followed the green light at the next station. So the next room is like an ASMR clinic, and I'm sure we've all seen those kind of videos before. So that was definitely, I think, my favorite room. Basically, you go in and there's like an ASMR nurse. She kind of does like a routine checkup on you, which is pretty cool. And then she says something like, "Your tendons are vibrating at a really high frequency, but I know just the right procedure to fix it." So I'm like, "Okay." And she says, "Lay down on the bed." So I do that, and she goes to the side of the bed and she says, "Give me a moment, I'm gonna go get my vibrating tool." And I'm like, what do you mean vibrating tool? And she comes back with a tuning fork. I was like, why would you say vibrating tool while I'm on a stranger's bed instead of just saying tuning fork? Like, worst choice of words in the history of ever. But it was still pretty funny, and the tuning fork thing was pretty cool. She would like hit it and then bring it close to your ear and further away, then do the other side. All in all, it's actually pretty relaxing. All the stuff ended up being pretty relaxing. It was just sometimes kind of a weird setup, and obviously a bit of an this shape, and there's all these beads inside, and he sways it from side to side, and it makes this sound almost like waves, which is really cool. But again, it was sort of freaky because we all sat around him on like Indian style around him, and he's sitting on the edge of a bed, and then around us are all the White Walkers, and they like lifted up this sheet to like surround us, and it's like really cult vibes. Okay. He says, "Ooh, I like to focus on a single bead and just see how long I can keep my eyes on it, or like go from one bead to the other, just talking about random stuff like that." And then, oh my god, this kid is so cute. And then he stops and he says, "We have a surprise for you in the living room." And I was like, what does that mean? Surprise? What kind of surprise? Maybe I'm just being paranoid, but I don't know. I'm not used to being in situations like that. So they bring us all to the living room, and in the middle of the living room is a 3DO, which is really cool. And then it's connected to all of these headphones that are on the couches. So we all sit on the couches and grab a pair of headphones, and it's cool because like it amplifies all of the sounds going on in the room. And we sit there, and then there's someone coming from the back of the room, like the back of the house kind of, wearing a white sheet, like a bed sheet, covering themselves, and they just walk straight towards the mic. It's really freaky, not gonna lie. They get to the mic and they just drop the sheet. Turns out it's the cute little Asian girl with the wavers and the boards from earlier. So I was like, why the freaky entrance? Okay. She's wearing like a cute little tank top and shorts, and she starts kind of narrating like a morning routine. So she says, "I wake up to the sound of birds chirping, and I see that I've slept in but not too much. I go to the bathroom to brush my teeth, and she'll have like props with her to make the sound of like brushing your teeth. And she'll have props with her to make it sound like she's brushing her teeth. And, you know, just narrates through a day kind of. It was really interesting. And then after that little show is done, your White Walker comes back to you, gives you your items, and asks if they can blindfold there's no good time to film. Anyways, thank you so much for watching,